guys, Aaron from Wilde Signs. Wilde Signs is a print and sign shop based out of West Michigan. If you're in need of any kind of signage, hit us up. We got high quality products at a competitive price. All right, so we're doing a series of tips, tricks, and tutorials for graphic design and sign setup. And I wanted to let you guys in on a little trick tip that I found useful recently. So this has to do with when you're working with artwork where there's kind of an image that you kind of want the whole theme of the artwork to be based around. A lot of times I'll just come up to my swatches and use these, but that's not very creative. So this is a kind of a creative way to step out of maybe your comfort zone of what you're normally used to with like text colors and stuff, because it's easy to get in a rut and just use the same ones. So basically what the tip is to use the colors from the image that you're going to use for your text and other elements. So let me show you here. I got this image here for a golf course, and I'm going to pull in some text that I had set up. So basically, instead of just using my swatches, I'm actually pulling these colors out of the image, and what that does is creates a lot of unity within all the elements because they're all from the same family then. So I'll show you real quick. So take this main Green Ridge text here. I grabbed that color. I used the color swatch here on the side. I grabbed that from this really dark green grass. So I could have just used black, but that's boring. And in black, you know, gets used all the time. So instead of that, I'm going to pull up this really dark green here. And it's a subtle change, but I feel like it adds a lot. Basically, all these were pulled out of there. So let's look at this golf course text. So this darker box here was actually pulled out of these trees in the background. What I did was I grabbed somewhere in there, and then you don't always have to use that swatch. I'm going to get a little darker one. Basically, come over here to your color picker, and you can then take that color if it's not, you know, standing off enough, if it's not popping off enough, pull it up or down. So I'm going to pull it straight down until it's about right there, and boom, that stands off a lot better. And I believe I grabbed this golf course text. If I can hide this layer here, I grabbed this golf course text directly from back in here. Yep, so that's the color it is. So that stood off nicely off of my rectangle, and my rectangle stood nicely off of the background. And then I pulled this info@greenridgegolf.com color right off this medium green back here. So if I wanted that to stand off more, then I would, instead of just grabbing a different green that's not in the exact same hue as this picture, I just grab that grass. It's not bright, and if it's not dark enough or popping off enough, then I can pull it down and give it a little more. You don't want to move this slider right here if you're doing this kind of a trick, because when you use the color dropper, it's going to give you super light to super dark in that exact hue. If you change this, it's going to introduce a different kind of green. You know, as you go this way, it'll become more blue. As you come this way, it'll become more yellow of a green, but we don't want to do that, so we're going to cancel. But yeah, if I want this text to stand off more, I could just pull it down a little bit. So I could also use this really dark part of the golf club. See, that's not straight black. It's just like a really dark gray, but it would just give you, you know, a little bit more, it would match the design a little bit more than just using straight black. Instead of using these straight swatches, pull your colors out of your picture, and it will just create a lot of unity. Let's look at this other design for the same promo here. So obviously, this Green Ridge and golf course are the same colors. I pulled this. Check out our new fall prices out of this medium green down here, and this info at greenridgegolf.com. I did pull off of the golf club right there. So, you know, if I don't like that, I could use this green up here. So, one other thing I did with this one is obviously the picture, you know, isn't as tall as I needed for this sign, so I'll just quickly go over what I did for that, because I do this quite a bit too. I want this picture to fade into just a solid color so that I could extend it as tall as I want it to be, because if you remove this background, you can see where the picture ends there. So what I did was I picked a color, a swatch right up here at the very top of the image where it's all kind of the same color or close to it. I picked that color, and I made a rectangle to fill the whole artboard behind the image. But this is what that looked like. So obviously, as you can see, the trees were still cut off right here. So to get around that, this is another little trick, is you do a smaller box. You can see my box right here. And I made, first of all, I had to make a swatch with this background color. So you can see my swatch up here, because you have to use a swatch for a gradient, because this little box becomes a gradient. So then you come over here, and I made both sides of this gradient the same exact color that matches the background, and it matches most of the top of this image. And I made it linear, and I made it 90. So linear means it's going to go from one side to the other, and 90 means it's going to go from the top to the bottom, or bottom to top. So one side is 100% opacity, and the other side is 0 opacity, but it's both the same color. So what that does is it gives me a gradient from 100 opacity to 0, and I can use that to fade in the picture to the background color. And when I did that, it just flowed really nicely, and so that's how I did that. That's another little trick with the same kind of using the same color scheme. So anyways, this has been a little longer than it probably needed to be, but just the idea is, don't just use the regular default swatches that come up all the time. That works sometimes, but sometimes it's really nice to take a photo that's kind of the centerpiece of the design of the graphic, and actually use colors from the picture for your text and other elements. It just really creates a lot of like unity within the artwork. You can see that this just really matches and flows really well. So yeah, try that sometime if you haven't. Hopefully that was helpful. If this video was helpful, please subscribe to our channel, because we're going to be doing lots more tips, tricks, and tutorials just like this one. Thanks a lot for watching.